Excuse the absolute mess. Just wanted to shoot a quick video, something I've been working on the past several hours. And that is, as you see by the title, upgrading the Hasbro Clone Commando. Just trying to make it a little bit more truthful to what it's supposed to look like rather than just Hunter repainted. So, if you're wondering why I have two Sevs, it's because I'm working towards... I'm a big fan of the Republic Commando books by Karen Travis. Those feature prominently, well, Delta Squad's in there, but they prominently, mostly feature Omega Squad, all matte black. So, I did customs, which I'll have to show off. Cause I got impatient. I bought 4 bosses when they first released, and then I made my own Delta Squad, and then I went and I bought the rest of Delta Squad to make Omega Squad. So I'll have to make a video on those. I got a proper turntable ordered. Don't know if it's gonna come from where I ordered it or not. I'm gonna reorder it, but on to the topic at hand. So I thought about it, I'd get Hunter down, but so Hunter, obviously, Bad Batch, Clone Wars. His armor, well, let me just say, Hasbro did a really good job at representing Hunter from the Bad Batch. It's pretty much 100% accurate to how he is in the show. But then classic Hasbro, wanting to be cheap, just throw a Clone Commando helmet on it. The armor is like 85%, 90% similar. Just throw a Commando helmet on it, give them the right paint jobs, and get it out there. Fortunately, that doesn't... It means, you know, these aren't entirely accurate. The chest piece is a different design. They're a bit slimmer in general. They got the wrong hand armor. They're missing just a lot of detail. So, let me get to what I've done. Obviously, this is no mods, all the mods. So let me get to what I've done on this guy first. Well, first, I started working on that. I'll get to that in a minute. But while I was waiting on the silicone mold to cure so I could cast that, I did... Honestly, if you don't want to do any of this extra modification, do this. I don't know why Hasbro didn't do it to begin with. You see on this one, the knee pads are mounted to the thigh armor, meaning when you bend the legs, they stay like this. That's stupid. It looks stupid. It's just not how it should be. Oh my god, the stance that I have them in really isn't wanting to stand up very well. But, as you can see, I just snipped them away from the top. You can do this with regular Clone Troopers too. It's a problem with them too, that they are Hasbro, to their credit, are finally correcting with their new Clone Trooper releases soon. But as you can see, snipped it away from the top. I just sort of I took it, I peeled it up like this, and you can see kind of in there. I just got in with the side cutters, snip. Then I took away some of the extra material so it wouldn't interfere. And then I just lined it up, the sort of point right here on both sides. I lined it up at the top of the shin guard and super glued it down. And just that by itself made such a difference in the look of this figure. It's astonishing. I mean, I knew it would, I just never went back and did it. But then, after I did that, still waiting on this mold to cure, I went ahead and I did these. The just raised section on the thigh armor that Commandos have. So, and it's derived from just regular Clone Trooper armor. I don't have one on hand to show you, but the thigh armor, at least for Hunter, and on this, is just standard Clone Trooper thigh armor. But even the proper Commando armor is derived from it, but it does have this raised section. So using him, the natural, it's kind of hard to see with the pad still on them, but the natural sort of triangular flat that these have that goes to this peak right here. I used some, where'd it go? I used this, just thin masking tape, and I covered the edge of the flat, curved it a little bit, and then followed the edge of this peak. From there, on the inside edge, I went over, just a little bit, marked it out with pencil. So this side is following the edge, this side is over, just sort of forced down. And then I transferred the now template masking tape onto this right here. I have a bunch of these. The code's already been used years ago. Just Xbox gift cards. This one obviously is 12 months of gold. I have a bunch of them. I used to use them like crazy. So this is what I get my sheet plastic from. Obviously you could get some proper sheet styrene. I have no idea exactly how thick that is. I don't have any calipers. But I only had to make one template. I made it off of this one. Made this one. Flipped the card around. And just, put the same one on there. Made technically two right ones that I just flipped it over. Made a left one. Stick it down with super glue. Really push it down. I used the actual body of this X-Acto knife, just a nice hard metal roller to sort of really roll it down on both sides, and that also helps a good bit. So then, about the time I was finishing up these, the mold for this was finished. This mold messed up a little bit. I could probably fix it. You can see it just didn't fill the mold right there at that little corner. But other than that, I just went ahead and used it because I didn't feel like doing the other one. It can be tedious doing these molds, fill them up with UV resin. So here's the mold. So what I did to make that mold is I took an Imperial Scout Trooper. I tried to do it on both elbows, so because these are asymmetrical. There's a left one and then there's a right one. This is the only mold that really worked out of the two, so oh well. But I took, where'd it go? Pieces should still be here. And they're not. Basically, I took the packaging, just the thickness of this packaging cardboard, and I wrapped it around the back of the Scout Trooper's elbow pad to give it the raised section, like you can see on 3 3/4 here. So I was going off of that, and there you can see that too. 3 3/4 is just scribe lines, but on more HD renderings it is a raised section. But back to these, molded it. It came out with the step in it from the cardboard. Went through the process of filling the mold. I tried to be careful. Obviously, it still messed up, but the mold itself actually turned out pretty good. It's exactly what I was going for. I've only done one so far, but it's exactly what I was going for. It replaces something that was desperately needed for this figure. My original plan, you can see on Hunter's forearms, there's this section right here. I was just going to glue it there, but looking at some of the more HD renders, like from Battlefront 2, or just, 3D file, 3D renderings of like armor that you can print out, life-size armor. Similar to regular clone troopers, it has the strap that goes around. It doesn't actually just glue onto this like the 3 3/4 would imply. It's actually supposed to have a strap that goes, between this armor is a strap that would connect to the thing. So, and it does aid it, that this can be rotated to get it into whatever specific position if it works better. Like rotated than it does or doesn't. The white would be more accurate to what it's supposed to be. As, you know, a separate strap, not part of the forearm. I would probably use some black elastic. This white elastic is all that I have. It's all I've been able to find in 1/8. But I would probably use black just to hide it. I think it'd look better. But, so there's that. That is a big part of it. Again, even they're not perfect, but I think if they had just had elbow pads and the knee pads glued in the proper spot, it would have gone a long way to making these figures not as bad, right? But they didn't, and that's what we're here for, is to fix it. We shouldn't have to fix it, but we do fix it. And chest armor, again, I made some templates. This is 3 pieces of the card. I made some masking tape templates. I started off with the main piece here in the middle, and then I made the 2 connecting pieces. Stuck everything down with super glue. I sort of pooled some super glue on the seam. It doesn't seem it doesn't seem but it doesn't feel like there's a actual gap anymore now that I've sort of filled the seam with some super glue and then sanded it down a little bit. And then to finish it off, I took some nylon cord, some of the thin stuff. I don't know what specific thickness it's supposed to be, but and then I just sort of ran it around the edge. So if you were doing this to regular Commandos, like you were fixing Sev here and you wanted to look like Sev, obviously paint that up. What color does it say? Oh, just white for his elbow pads. And then all in here would be black. That's another thing. If they had just given it the right... Put the knee pads in the right place, give it some elbow pads, and then give it a special, you know, Clone Commando proper chest piece. You wouldn't even need... Hasbro wouldn't have even needed to do an entire chest. Just the front half of the chest, give it its own proper mold. Commandos, the neckline comes down a lot further, and it has this sort of ribbed undersuit type deal going on. Whereas, as you can see, based on Hunter, does not. Hunter's armor is... It's like he has an extra armor plate welded in right here on top of his detail being less, you know, it's shallower. So that's why I did this. Honestly, it could be a bit thicker, but the thickness, I mean, could be a bit more, but just the edge, the fact that there's an edge there now, I think with paint and weathering applied, with that edge catching some black wash and actually existing rather than the basically smooth transition between pieces on Hunter's chest piece, will help immensely. So I think this turned out pretty well. Well, the ribbing, this doesn't have any ribbing. I could probably do it if this had more, if this sheet plastic was thicker, I could do it out of just some thinner plastic or some cardboard. I could probably do it with some of this cardstock that I was also using to make some templates here and there. I mean, it wouldn't be much, but again, you would be able to catch just the slight elevation change. I think I'm just going to sort of fake it with paint. Use matte black to fill it in, and then just do some lines of really dark gray. There's a real dark gray paint that I've got called Pavement. It's like 2 shades lighter than flat black, you know what I mean? So I might just, I'll probably try and fake it with some pavement, or some just real dark gray. This video's gone on longer than I anticipated. That always happens with me. But, so, still to do. I mean, not much. I think I might use some UV resin and fill the hole left behind by Hunter's sheath for his knife. I mean, it's just, they couldn't even be bothered to fill that. It's just how lazy Hasbro can be. That, and I might try and reposition the shoulder pads. It's not really necessary. This is, again, to their credit, it's accurate to Hunter. This is how Hunter's shoulder pads lay. But regular Commandos, they're kind of, I don't know, it almost seems like regular Commandos should have these swapped, like inverted. Like instead of this being down and this being up, this would be up, this would be down. You know, just on opposite shoulder, not even opposite shoulder, just rotated. And then maybe spaced up and attached to this, so it still doesn't interfere with anything. I don't know, I might leave them. Might leave them, might not. But, so there's one. Now I just have to hope that, because at the very least I need to do it with, I have two, to make Omega I have 2 Sevs. One was to be Sev because he comes with the sniper, and then the other was a stand-in for Boss because Sev doesn't have anything special, no helmet attachments, no backpack attachments, so he was a stand-in for the boss's sculpt. And then I have Fixer and Scorch. So, like I said, I'll probably be making a video showcasing my custom Delta Squad, custom painted Delta Squad. I based them off of the 3 3/4 inch figures instead of these, so they do look different. And then obviously whenever Omega Squad gets built, I'll put up a video showcasing them. So thanks for bearing with me. These long video that I didn't anticipate being long. I'll catch you in the next one.